Hey y'all, do I look like Dana White, Mr. Clean, Lex Luthor, or somebody said Dana Carvey too? But hey, roll with it. There's my honey girl, beautiful soul. And I am extremely blessed to have her. I start to get like, stinking thinking. It's my bipolar one, That's what they stamp me with, I'm surprised they don't tattoo it on you somewhere. But, I see a lot of videos of, try to say out Facebook, people filming people that are struggling, right? And, I mean, it's, nobody really wants to be filmed, put up on social media. Honey and I have helped a ton of people. And I don't film that, because you shouldn't be filming it, I mean, really. it's very fortunate if you haven't had any mental illness or anything that's caused issues in your life. I think everybody's had problems. With me, it's like in Honey and myself, it's hard to rent a place because, service dog or not, people don't want to rent to you with the dog. And so I'm checking out a couple places. I burned so much money at motels and stuff, and it's difficult. Luckily we have a car, but I'm always thinking there's going to be an issue with our vehicle, and then what? And it's a lot of stress, especially around the holidays. But there's somebody that's worse than you. And it's always nice to hear somebody, with what we're posting, Honey and myself. There's some people that say some pretty douchey stuff. I just honestly, I just report it and it just erases it. Because you go on theirs and people just want to promote hate, And I just do it because, I got to stay in a good mood, It's tough around the holidays. Honey girl and I, we're just going to be, I can't stay in any more motels because it just burns through so much money. And it's just I'm running out of money. And the thing is, it just, people, there's no help for, people think that you're a drug addict if you're on the streets or living in your car. People are so judgy, and it could happen to them. You could have a physical or mental problem. Boom. You're fine one day, issue the next. And then, you're in the same situation. It's like with me, I was, before everything happened, I was doing pretty good. And then it happened. And then, it's whatever. But I'm extremely blessed to have her. I just kind of hope that nothing does happen until, and luckily I'm on disability right now, but that's not a ton of money. It is money. I paid into it with all my work, paid in it jobs I worked at. So it's not like I just getting it for nothing. I didn't want to take it, but it's like I went back to work, and then I went work for this horrible place that still owes me money, and then I gave 2 weeks, and then they said, you go now. And it's just been a struggle, when you're the one that has to find, when your other half is in the house and whatever, and that's fine. But, and you don't talk to your family because your family's kind of judgy, and, it's difficult. So, like with me, I'm just in a bad way because the credit, the rental history, like I was saying earlier, it's like, it's so much easier, I think, if you go to prison or jail and then you get out and then they give you more help because they want you to not go to prison or jail again. But I've never been to prison or jail. And I know that's a shocker because a lot of people have. Never had a DUI, nothing like that, And it's like, everybody, you go to like try to rent a place and you go, is it dog friendly? And then they don't put that it's not. And then they remove the post. So, I'm going to go check out one tomorrow and then Friday. And hopefully I can get in there next month. And because honestly, unless you're living in your car on purpose, or your vehicle, or you're doing something where you have a house and you just like to go and do the pretend van life, it's not what anybody really wants to do. You know, honestly, that's why I've stayed at motels, not like super fancy ones, and I burnt a lot of money. But the way I look at it too, I mean, I could have been paying rent, but you're not building a rental history, and so people are just so like they don't want to take a chance on somebody, you know. And I don't even mention the bipolar thing anymore because that's an automatic no. Because people always go, "Oh, you're so crazy" and stuff like that. People have no idea, you know. And the thing is, I just really don't care anymore because, you know, I only post just hopefully it helps other people because I see other people's posts and like I just saw one on Facebook and I just commented and I just said what Honey and I are going through. But I mean, it's people have it worse. You know, you're lucky to have your life. You know, I'm lucky to have my life, and I almost didn't have it when they put me on the wrong meds. And mental health is so screwed up. You know, it just nobody really you really don't have any help. You know, you got to figure it out on your own, and it sucks. I mean, especially on the holidays. You know, but you know, it's like people in my situation, you know, I've enabled a lot of people to just take more advantage, and I thought they'd change, and a lot of people won't. So, anyways, you know, we're lucky to have, you know, something to be in right now because it's raining, you know, and there's a lot of people that don't have that. And there was a time when we didn't even have that, but it's a struggle, like when this happens with mental illness, nobody wants that, and then you're trying to come back from it, and there's absolutely, you know, except for me being on disability, which I appreciate, but it's absolutely like not a lot of help out there, you know, to rent a place or anything like that, you know. I mean, you have to be able to get into a place, you know, to be approved for it, you know, but, and especially in California, I mean, so many people, you know, after this, we'll probably go to the rest area and we'll see how many people are staying there. But around the holidays, it's like there's so many people here, anyways, and it's just, I don't know. Hopefully that helps.